On this episode of The Art Teacher, please listen in on my incredible conversation with makeup artist Alyssa Aiken. By way of Chicago, she lives full-time in Los Angeles. While COVID has been such a frustrating and uncertain time, Alyssa was able to self-reflect and fall back in love with her art. With her fresh perspective, self-taught skills, and superpower ability to recreate a look from memory, Alyssa naturally stands out in a crowd. I've always loved the idea that makeup artists use a face as a canvas, so I'm so glad I got the opportunity to break it down even more with my great friend Alyssa. Listen in while we explore self-inspiration, the importance of representation within her industry, and why and how she always executes the perfect eyeliner. Please enjoy. Funny because I always feel bad for Steph when she has to color correct me. Basically,
I am so sorry.
I know, but because I'm a white balance. You should have used the inside of my arm to be like white balance. Check.
I don't know what that's like.
It's not fun. Your life is about testing like 3 different sunscreens and seeing like what the best sunscreen is.
I love sunscreen.
What sunscreen do you love?
Right now on my face, Elta MD. Very good. It's this like dermatologist grade recommended. I don't know, but it's very good for your face.
Okay,
it's not like expensive, but it's like $30.
Okay. Let's just if you are doing makeup for someone, is sunscreen the first thing you put on them?
You should, but I put it in like after a few layers
of makeup.
It does make sense to put it on first, but I do like to put like if you're using like vitamin C or oil, I feel like those should go in first before your sunscreen, like so they can actually.
What is your skin routine? I don't think I've ever asked you this question, and I've lived next to you for 2 years. What is your skin routine?
I don't really have one because
you really not.
I really am bad at it. I'm trying to get better because we're in LA. The sun is not good for us out here.
You don't do anything for that?
No, I mean I put stuff on today. I have like makeup on my face today.
No, but like, what do you? Even when you're not wearing makeup, like, what is your skin regimen?
I wake up and I just live my life.
You wash your face?
Not every day, which is weird because look, we're in quarantine.
No, I get that.
I'm not doing anything, but more so it'll be like a oil.
Okay.
I'm vitamin C searing it up, so like vitamin C and an oil, and that's pretty much it.
And that's like the skin routine.
And
are you a toner person or no toner?
I don't need it. I have normal skin. I'm sorry, I have normal skin, so I don't. My thing is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right.
So, like, I don't want to ever do too much and then it, like, freaks my skin out because it's not used to having the most done. Mm-hmm. So, it's like I do the bare minimum.
Okay.
I should do more. I will do more. I'm trying to get better. But also, it costs money. And, I've been very weird with spending my money lately, so.
Well, because you've been dealing with fucking unemployment. Which is like something, it's so weird when people bring up unemployment. Because
Give me my money.
I feel like, and this is kind of like why, one, I wanted to bring on here because I really want to talk about what does it mean to be an artist when you're a makeup artist? Because there's a lot of makeup artists that don't consider themselves artists, even though it's in the title, right? Like the same way that like a lot of people don't think chefs are artists. So like, what does that debate and that conversation look like?
Gotcha.
But also wanting to bring you on this because of the whole idea that like, we were talking about this yesterday. We have technically until September to like figure out what the hell we're going to do with our lives. That's when our buddy Joe Biden and Kamala Harris is like extra money, keep us safe. What is this unemployment, stimmy package goes away.
Right.
So, and we were talking about this though, in a post-COVID world, what is the makeup industry going to look like?
I mean, it is booming right now.
Which is wild though, but that's like, it is self-makeup,
on
right?
fire.
Or have you watched people that are like makeup artists that are like popping off right now?
Yeah, I mean, I follow, I don't follow, let me say, I don't follow a lot of people who do makeup. Mm-hmm. It's very weird for me to do. I used to do it and you just get so consumed in it and then you start comparing yourself to other people. So I only follow like 5-ish makeup artists in the industry. They were already working before COVID. They've, obviously everything came to a halt, so no one was working. And now they're back in it and working. So, and if you think about like studios are opening up and everything like that, so the work is there.
Yeah.
I think we might just have to work a little bit harder to find it, especially because like now you have COVID as a thing. So, but yeah, I mean, I think even just people like consumers buying makeup, it's huge. Like COVID was kind of like a self-care, like a year of self-care.
For sure.
You know, we all experienced it. And I feel like I've seen a lot more people really invest in their skincare and like take care of themselves.
Remember when we went to Forever 21 and we couldn't find anything because nothing fit us?
But they had all skincare.
They had like a whole skincare section, which is like great. And you should start young. I mean, that's the thing. And like, you know, Rihanna wrangling her boyfriend A$AP Rocky into her skincare thing was such a smart marketing thing, I feel like.
I mean, I think it's smart to start taking care of your skin when you're younger, for sure. I will say the one thing that I've been consistent about since I was probably a teenager, sunscreen. Literally have always worn sunscreen. Even in high school, I used to have like 4 different ones just all the time. And my friends would be like, here's SPF 5. And I would have like SPF 65. So like...
That's why you look 12.
Also genetics, though.
You're like sun and genetics. And like 23 and me and your amazing family. I know.
Genetics.
Oh, God,
so like...
That's a big thing.
That's a huge factor, but also just, you know...
But have you always been into makeup? Since you were like little or no?
For the most part, yeah.
Okay. What was it that kind of like made you be like, haha, this is an interesting canvas?
I think it's just kind of one of those things where like I believe people are born to do things.
Ooh. And
even though I think that sometimes like you could maybe be born to do something and then you try it and it's not your thing and you do something else. But I do believe that people are put on this earth and born to do things. So I think I was born to be a makeup artist. Like I honestly have only ever seen myself doing that, as crazy as that sounds, like ever since I was a teenager. And, you know, I don't have like crazy stories about being a kid and really playing in makeup, but I do remember like how my mom wore her makeup. I do remember like dabbling in little things here and there in middle school or elementary school, but you know, I mean, kids these days, they literally have makeup kits and they're 12. So the 90s were a whole different time.
Oh my God, I know.
But,
a lot of glitter.
God, I just put my age out there. But, oh God, my heart stopped.
You're fine.
But
you're ageless. That's the
God,
secret.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
But yeah, so like, I honestly feel like it's the only thing that I was here to do. And it's something that I'm really good at naturally. Because I am self-taught, but I have gone to makeup school to like brush up skills where I like what I didn't know on things I didn't know. I went to school to like brush up skills, learn more things. But yeah, if you ask me like, what else would you do with your life? I'm like, I don't really know.
You would, if you weren't being a makeup artist, you don't know what your
before
B
I was
or
like,
C be.
I mean, right now, no. I mean, if I could be a tattoo artist, like that would be awesome. But I can't really like, I don't draw like that. I'm not that kind of artist, you know? And then back in the day, it was, if I wasn't a makeup artist, I would probably have like a cupcake bakery. That was like a big thing in my life.
I like
I love sugar and sweets and stuff like that. But now I'm like,
to a cupcake place yesterday. So
we did.
It was worth it.
I had one last night at 11 o'clock.
I had mine for
and
breakfast.
then went to sleep.
Oh my God. You went to sleep after having sugar?
I passed out.
That's amazing. Genetics again. It's just coming in. Okay, so this episode, it's probably going to be in the future from what we're doing. But we've literally hit the year anniversary of the unrest and all the amazing protests that happened, unfortunately, because of George Floyd. But I remember you and me having a conversation where I got into a Twitter debate.
Okay.
The person ended up deleting all their tweets. But remember when I was like, you can't call yourself a makeup artist if you don't know how to use makeup on black and brown skin.
Oh, absolutely.
And that person came for me and she was and she was a white woman who I worked with. Mm-hmm. And I remember you telling me like how it was so different for you, even on the productions you worked on, to be like someone seeing you and being like, oh, she gets my skin.
Yeah.
Like how important is that?
I think it's very important. It's like top tier important. Mm-hmm. And it's also something that has been in, magazine articles and news articles of models back before COVID happened that would take their own makeup to shows. or get assigned a makeup artist who didn't know what they were doing or didn't have any colors or tones for them at all. So, I mean, I think it's like if you're going to learn makeup, especially nowadays, like, I mean, even back in the day, you should have known, but you should know how to do it. It's not the same as like, if I'm doing your makeup, it's completely different than my makeup.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, there's like undertones, there's color correction, there's a lot of things that are very important to know. And
you know, yellow. I can't wear yellow. I can't do it. Yeah, yellow looks great on you. And it's fine.
We love a canary.
You do. But yeah, that matters though. But there's such a science to it though, because there's so many times where you and I have gone to Sephora and I've held up things and you've been like, this, you can see colors within colors.
Yeah.
That's just.
I second guess myself all the time, but I'm always pretty much on the money about it.
But that's so fascinating though. Because it is an art, but it's also a science. You have to like know how shades work, how they don't work, what does it look like on someone's skin and body. So when you work with those artists that are people of color, that are like, oh, thank you, you see me and everything, do you kind of have like, not like a resentment, but does it irritate you ever that you look at other people and you're like, how can you get away with being a makeup artist but not know how to work on someone that looks like me?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's irritating because, you know, I mean, I've seen a lot of beautiful makeup and you know, you see not good makeup, and you know, I'm not gonna like shit on anybody because I think we all have to start from somewhere and learn from somewhere, but it's like, if my main thing is, if you don't know how to do it, just say you don't know how to do it. Fair. And that's fine. You know, it's like, if you are uncomfortable with it or if you're unsure, that is okay. They, you know, they'll find somebody else that knows what they're doing, right, or is more comfortable with it. Or if you have like months or time in advance to practice, like practice and just try it and see. But I think, you know, makeup for medium and darker skin tones is like so important. And I love that a lot of companies now have products for that, because you really have no excuse now. Like, you
don't.
Before it was literally only like MAC that had shade ranges.
Yeah, because Pat McGrath came in later.
She's been doing makeup forever.
Right.
Like, I remember reading about her in my Teen Vogue handbook. I had that book.
Oh, I do remember
and
that.
I literally only read the makeup artist part because I was like, I'm not going to do any of this other stuff. And she was in there and I was like, oh my God, it's so good. But yeah, like her makeup line came later.
Right. But she had been doing it for a hot minute and she was like kind of the only one known for it and everything. Yes. But you've like gravitated, like it's MAC that's kind of been like the one brand that kind of got it first, you feel like?
Well, they were the one brand that had more shades because they're like an OG brand. I mean, I think there's so many newer brands now that, you know, there are so many brands that are more popular now, especially for different skin tones. But yeah, back in the day, like MAC was kind of like what we had.
Right.
Because there were other brands that were not made for my skin tone. Yeah, which is fine. Like, you know, well, that's how it was back in the day. But like, times have changed. So.
But it's also so weird because we like have that weird conversation where it's like times have changed. Where technically times haven't changed. It's just that the industry has caught up with like how other people were living for so effing long. But now it's unfortunately, I say unfortunately because it's cool now. It's cool to be woke.
Well, and I think, which this could be like a little petty, but I think that
we love petty on this show.
All it took was for the beauty industry to see this group, you know, of people who they always assumed didn't wear makeup. So they always assumed that like Black women didn't wear makeup. We didn't need makeup. We didn't have to wear it. We're beautiful, whatever. But once you notice that we still buy makeup. Yep. We need it. We love it. We want to be included and have the shades and, you know.
And the biggest consumers of those products.
Consumers. Yeah. That's the word. You know, it's like, I think once they realized there was a market for that, then everybody just jumped right in the pool. And then they were like, oh my God, what? And it's like, we've been asking for makeup. We don't want to look gray. We want to look like us.
Yeah.
You know,
there's a huge scale of it. Who are some companies that you really like gravitate toward that you really like?
I mean, you know, my number one, Milk Cosmetics.
I always tell people.
Latina.
No. Yep.
Owned. She's a co-owner. I love Milk. I've been actually following them since they started their company 8 or 9 years ago. I think they just had their 8-year anniversary.
Oh, snap. That's so cool.
So,
and they just got into Sephora recently,
yeah,
right?
like 2 years ago, I think.
That just shows you. Stick with it.
And that's literally my favorite. They're coming out with more products, but I love them. Mm-hmm. I think I actually am wearing them on my eyes now. Thank you so much.
Way to go, Melt.
The rust stack. It's so good.
Rust.
But they get it because one of the co-founders, she's a makeup artist in the industry.
Word.
She's a Latina makeup artist. So she understands, and her makeup is like phenomenal. So she just gets it, you know? Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. What else do I use? I don't really use makeup that much, but I do also like Dose of Colors. I have some of their highlighters that were really good. Pat McGrath, I mean, obviously. Oh. I can't afford her right now, but it's really pretty to look at.
That's my big thing is Pat, we love you.
Can't afford it.
We can't afford you, but don't lower your prices for us. Yeah. You know what I mean? Make them pay.
Also, another one is Danessa Myricks. I've been following her for a while. I've actually gone to some of her education classes that she's had out here in LA.
Oh, dope.
And her makeup is awesome. I've also met her at IMATS, which is a what's the word? A trade show.
Oh, cool.
And she is literally the nicest person. She her line is so inclusive, and she just has an amazing shade range. Mm-hmm. And now she's in Sephora too. And I just love seeing people that I follow and look up to, because she's an amazing makeup artist and I completely look up to her, but I love seeing people I look up to just expand, and then everybody knows about them, and I'm like, I've been known, where have you been, but
when it pops off, it's the band that gets big, and you're like, I name their early mixtapes.
Yeah,
you're I know their early
palettes.
What
did you like before it was popular? I'm like, Danessa Myricks.
There you go.
Melt Cosmetics,
Oh God, shout out to those. So, okay, with that being said, do you consider yourself an artist?
I do.
I like that answer.
I will say before, I've been off and on about it because I go in these waves of I feel really creative and productive, and then it's just flatline.
Nothing.
But I am an artist because my brain has always just been a creative brain. It has always been to make things. And I feel a lot of people, when they think artist, you're a painter or you draw really well. And I also love to paint, but I'm a very big abstract person. But yeah, I mean, I think I do because I'm putting my canvas as a face.
Yeah.
And
incredible.
I'm using tools and different products to create something on somebody's face. And it's kind of endless if your imagination runs wild enough. It's pretty endless. And I think it's pretty cool to just be able to express yourself in a different way. Even with the bare minimum, when I was just first starting out or just even learning about makeup or buying it at the drugstore, it's for me, it was just the best thing.
Right.
There's nothing cracking open a brand new mascara or
that noise
eyeshadow.
when you pull it out, the little suction noise.
So I mean, I definitely do. And I definitely consider myself a very creative person, because if you put anything else that's really technical in front of me, I'm gonna be I don't speak this language. Yeah. I don't know what this is.
Right.
Can I get a calculator?
Can I get someone else to get me a calculator and they do it instead? But you also mentioned that you paint as well. You're a phenomenal painer. I am proud to say I own one of your pieces.
I know. I have to make you a better one though, a bigger one.
Okay, why did you do that?
Because that's just what I do.
Why do you think artists do that?
Because I mean, I think I think I'm a perfectionist, which is deadly, perfectionism can kind of kill you because you're always trying to be better in the way where it's oh, this thing is amazing, but I could do better. And it's no, leave it. It's amazing. For you, you're no, leave the painting. It's amazing. And I'm oh, I mean, it could be a bigger sign, I don't know.
No, and I get that. Hey, any and all small businesses, I'm talking to you. Yeah, you. I have a small proposition for you. If you're a small business and you're in need of free publicity, yes, you heard me, free publicity, I want to give it to you. All you have to do is write me a short and small little bio or pitch about you and your small business and how your business supports the arts. For the best answer, I will plug you and your small business for 3 of my episodes. Everyone wins. I get to support a small business and you get to be promoted for free. That means you don't have to sponsor me, don't have to pay me. I just get to talk about how much you love the arts. So please email me at rose@ropegirltherapy.com, the subject line, small businesses that support, and get your free publicity today. I can't remember who said one of my favorite playwrights. He wrote, oh my God, my mind's blanking right now. But one of his quotes was, "Art's never finished, it's just abandoned." And like, there is like some, like, let's be honest, as an artist, there's some hopeless romantic where you're like, oh, I can feel that in my bones. But then there's also this aspect of like, no, I feel like I do finish things. But sometimes, like you're saying, you're like, no, I can make it better. I can.
Yeah, I also don't finish a lot of things. Like, if you look in my living room right now, there are so many unfinished projects because I just, like, get overwhelmed with it. And I'm like, I have to step back. I'll come back to it later. Like,
do you get overwhelmed by your art?
I think so.
What do you think that is?
I think it's just been like that way for a long time.
It's just the perfectionism.
Being in quarantine has really made me reflect on things about my childhood and being a perfectionist.
Right.
And just, like, having a fit if, like, something just didn't happen the way in my mind it was going to happen, but only in a, like, creative sense.
Word.
You know, and just being like, these beads on this bracelet, like, it just doesn't look right. And then I have to, like, rip it all apart and, like, do it again. But,
right.
I mean, I don't know. It's just a constant battle, I guess.
It's just naturally, it's just something you deal with.
Yeah.
Did you have
working on it?
Always be a work in progress, you know? Because I feel like sometimes a lot of people, and we've talked about this, where success feels like a plateau and it's a scary thing.
Yeah.
Because then you're like, oh God, now I have to do better. I have to do a different success. And so when you're there's a kind of a hustle behind failure.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, let me start over. I can do better. You're right. Let me do another draft. Did you grow up in a very creative house? Was there a lot of arts in your house?
Yeah. I used to do so much with my mom. Like, honestly, just painting. Like, our thing was we would go to fairs and, you know, we didn't have a lot of money at the time. So we would go to fairs and see things and I would be like, oh my God, I want this. And she'd be like, we can make it at home. So, like, literally just, you know, anything that we saw, we would make at home. And I mean, I still have, like, all of these bead boxes with beads that are literally decades old because I just kind of, like, put them aside and I was like, I'll come back to them later, and then just never did. But yeah, it just was, like, always making things. I loved doing just the artsy things in school. Like, I didn't care for the other stuff, but, like, reading and, like, art was my thing. But yeah, just definitely always exposed to it. And I think that's why I love that we have a Michael's near us now, because it's like, dangerous. If I see it, I can make it, you know, like, let me save. Well, everything's expensive now, but, like, let me save $40 and just, like, make it myself, you know?
But also we went to Michael's just because they had a sale. You know what I mean?
Yes.
On frames. But
Very
it was so
bad.
worth it. But it was, like,
on
so
frames,
worth it.
and I'm like, I have nothing to put in them, but I will find something.
Exactly. I would either make something to put it in the frame, or I'll find something. Some artists I can support to put in the frame. But so it was basically kind of like supported. Like, did you ever feel like, you know, your family was like, no, kind of stay away from art? Sometimes people are like that. It was very much like you felt really supported to be creative.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think I feel very blessed and grateful to have always had that support from my family. Mm-hmm. I think they were never like, no, you can't do this. I think the only hesitation with me being in high school and being like, I want to be a high fashion makeup artist, it was like, how are we going to figure that out? Because if you think about it, back then in the early 2000s, the internet wasn't what it is today.
No.
Not at all. Like, even trying to find work, it wasn't what it is.
You couldn't just
we had flip phones.
Someone. Yeah, exactly. Flip phones. We got to make our ending calls was more satisfying. Yeah, but that was it.
Hello, you know, like,
it was the only upside.
You hold your phone like that.
Exactly. Yeah. Not like this.
Yeah. So, but for the most part, very supportive. I think. I mean, even now, it's just funny how they're like, okay, you're going to do something else. And it's like, yeah, I'm going to do it. You know, they've never really ever told me that I couldn't do something. And I think that's really important, is
beautiful
to just, you know, like, even if it's going to be a hard road, if someone wants it bad enough, they can, you know, achieve that goal.
Yeah.
And I think it would have really sucked if I was told that I couldn't do something, because I really honestly, like, I wouldn't have achieved so much that I did achieve when I was in my 20s, in my early 20s at that. Like, I literally was just like, this is what I want to do, and like jumped into it, and I made things happen, you know? So, oh God, there's my age thing again. But, you know, like, it's just, I just think it's really important. Like, support is really everything.
It is. It's such a weird thing, because there's sometimes where there's a lot of people who thrive off of it, you know, that didn't feel supportive, so they just like led in more. But then there's a lot of people that are like not supportive, which I want to like ask you. You are completely self-taught, which is incredible, because I know so many people who just like look at your Instagram account and they're like, holy shit. And the thing I love the most about your makeup is that it looks like something I could do. Like, it's not over. You know what I mean? I can't.
You can.
If you could see your like eye winged right now, that is
okay.
Stunning.
Can I just say something really quick?
Please.
Oh, I literally did not breathe when I did my eyeliner today. It was so hot, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do my eyeliner like up, not down, and then I have to match it, because you know, eyeliner are like, it's like fraternal twins, not identical twins.
Okay, I got it.
Because like sometimes they're like a little different, and I actually made it work, but I was shaking with this one, and I was like, okay, leave it alone, walk away, get some water.
I'm not gonna lie, that is Mary Kate and Ashley
so
on your face right now. They are identical. I still can't tell the difference between those twins. So that your eyes are Mary Kate and Ashley.
Thank you so much. But yes,
But it's like, how did you, since you're self-taught, did you just like look at something and be like, oh, I can mimic that. I could do that.
Yeah. I honestly think it could be definitely from my mom being like, oh, we can make this, you know, like, let's.
There you go. That full kind
But
of
yeah, I've always
circle.
kind of been that way. And it's literally just a gift that I'm blessed to have had. Because I even remember when I went away to college when I was 18, and I went to like the mall, and you go to the Mac counter. I'll never forget my one friend saying, I got this makeup done and it looked really great, and I bought what they sold me, and then I literally recreated it the next day, and she was like, how in the world did you do that? And I was like, I don't know, I just watched her do it and I did it.
Wow.
So yeah, I think I'm definitely really good at recreating things for sure. Even if I like watch all the steps, like it's embedded in my brain, and then I'm like, okay, this is what I have to do.
Because you're also there you go. You're
Meticulous.
perfectionist. I was going to say, that's the perfectionism that like is the good thing. It's not like the demise of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the whole idea that you're so good at detail orienting, and like you remember how to like replicate something. So for you, if you were giving advice to like an artist, like a makeup artist listening right now, it's like straight up just where should one begin?
Well, I think that with the internet today, it's actually a lot easier to find things. Okay. Like back when I did it, I mean, I will admit that I looked at listings on Craigslist for makeup artists and stuff, which is so sketchy now. Don't do that.
Oh my God, don't do that now.
I think it's really
a different time.
Instagram, Googling, you know, makeup artist jobs or training. There's a lot of schools now. So I think it's like if you want to go to school to have more hands-on learning, schools are great. Just find the right one and make sure you do your research. Like always do your research, because some of them, you know, there's a lot of scammy ones out there, but there's also just some that may not have like your best interest. They just want the money. Scam. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of schools. Instagram is really good. I would say find your like top 3 artists, maybe on Instagram. Okay. I said Instagram like 3 times, but maybe like your top 3 artists that aren't Instagram makeup artists. So like artists in the industry that are working in, industry artists that you can look at their work. Sometimes they'll go live. They give really good golden nuggets of information. Oh, yeah. Sometimes they'll have educational classes. If you're in a town that has a beauty store, sometimes they'll have artists come in and do workshops. I know in LA we have them everywhere. Like I've gone to a bunch here, and I know in Chicago they have them as well. So it's really just kind of like looking at that, but also just practice and really. Also, here's a really like important one, because this is totally something that I would do, is don't feel like you have to have everything right away. Start with your baseline of what you need.
Okay.
Your basics with like basic eyeshadow palettes. Like you don't need 30 foundations. You can literally chop it down to 15 and you can have the lightest and the darkest and you can mix them and make them.
Right.
Invest in really good brushes. Learn about sanitation.
Bless you. That was a shout out to our producer. Bless you. See, that means she liked it. That's a sneeze means she's agreed.
But yeah,
sanitation. That's
sanitation,
big, especially with COVID.
I would say that's the first thing that you should do is learn about sanitation because not even just because of COVID, but even pre-COVID, I think that's kind of like one of my things that I dislike seeing is people that are getting into it but don't take the time to educate themselves on sanitation because it can actually be really dangerous. And, you know, people can get like pink eye, like you could
I've
like
heard horror
skin
stories,
things, like you can get sick from if the makeup's not clean, if the brushes aren't clean. So I think that's like really important. And just take small steps and like don't be so hard on yourself. And you know, we luckily have YouTube as a really good source. I would say it's not like the encyclopedia.
Word.
It does have a lot, but I think it's also important to kind of be up to date with non-Instagram makeup. You know, like if you want to go into film, look at film makeup and do your research on that and see like what it would entail because film makeup is completely different from Instagram makeup.
Oh yeah, and like high photo shoots. Like
if you want to
go Vogue, you're not gonna do a sitcom.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not the same.
Like TV makeup is completely different than runway, editorial. It's all different. So, like you know, figure out which category you want to work in. And then focus and do research upon that. But everybody, please learn sanitation.
Do you remember doing my makeup once when we were heading out to the Virgil and you were using my stuff, but it was so funny because you like twisted my lipstick and you immediately went to like wipe it with the tissue and you were like, oh, this is yours. And I was just like, oh my God, I love that you had that in your body just to naturally be like, oh, this is yours. It's fine. You were putting it on me, but it was such like I just love that reaction that you had where you're like, nope, safety first. Yeah.
Also, I'm like a germaphobe. And also I'm like, it's not my face. So if it was mine and I didn't, you know, I don't want, not that I'm like, have germs or anything.
Yeah,
but, you know, it's like you have to be careful. Yeah. Even if you're doing makeup on your friends, you should always be careful. You shouldn't share brushes. You should use clean brushes.
Right.
I mean, you would be surprised, like, once people realize that acne can be transferred through makeup brushes, they're like, oh, shit. And it's like, yeah, like you don't, of course, I mean, it's bacteria. So if you're like if you're using brushes on breakouts or anything like that, and then you use the same brush on Cindy, you know, Cindy can start having breakouts
Cindy
on
Crawford.
her face.
No, don't do that, Cindy Crawford.
That
is why I mean, that makes sense to me, but that's not something I would think about, but that's like hella important.
Also, don't blow on your brushes, people. I mean, if they're yours, I was like different, but
like instead of tapping,
you should always tap your brushes. Don't blow on your brushes. It's not sanitary. Would you want the bacteria and my breath on your eyeball? No.
Damn, that's a good ass point. I hope I learned something just now. That's wild.
That's why I'm here. No, I'm kidding.
No, I mean, that is why you're here. I mean, that's why I wanted you on here. Well, because I also wanted to like dive into the whole idea that like, when you are someone who is a makeup artist, like you kind of like, you haven't always worked in industries that was makeup though. Like what other jobs have you had? Because that's like the interesting thing is that you do makeup. It's what it's what you're put on this planet for. You're naturally super fucking talented with your makeup and you're self-taught. Yeah. But like, what are some other jobs that you've had that are not makeup related?
Oh, retail.
Oh shit.
I've worked on a lot of retail jobs and it's exhausting. It is rough. My first job, I worked at Limited 2, which I can say that because Limited 2 doesn't exist.
I was about to say, yes, you can name check it in our show. I like looked to our producer, like we can say that one. Okay, yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, Limited 2, which RIP, but that was my first job. I was 16. It was horrible.
Oh my God.
It was not good. It was not good. And it's okay.
Man.
I worked at a popcorn shop for a day.
Wait, why?
I literally got hired and then I was like, I worked like a shift and I was like, this is not okay. I'm going to go.
What did you hate about it or not like about it?
The owner watched me on the camera the entire shift.
That is
and you could, because you know, like, and we had the little TVs up front too, so you could kind of see it. It was very uncomfortable, and I was like, I'm gonna go. Thanks.
Oh yeah, no, you're not popping off in that place.
Yeah,
so
it's
not the popcorn shop.
I worked in shoe stores. I grew up in shoe stores.
You grew up in a shoe store, which I think is so amazing because you literally can look at people's feet and tell their size. Which
I knew how to size shoes when I was like a toddler. Was I that young? I mean, it was a while ago. But yeah, I grew up in a shoe store. I've worked in shoe stores. I worked with you.
Oh yeah, we worked together in an establishment that we cannot say,
but that's okay because you know okay. Whatever. But
yeah,
high five.
Yeah, it was a great time.
But yeah, I mean, I think I've had so many I worked at Sephora.
Did you? Really?
I'm sorry, I worked at a makeup place that is popular.
That
might be.
Oh, okay. Our producer said it's okay. They're not paying me, so it's fine. But okay, so
I did work there.
Did you like it, or was it weird doing the thing you loved?
It was okay. So when I worked there and I worked as a host at a restaurant, a very popular restaurant chain.
I know which one it is.
Back to back. And it was very exhausting. Yeah, I would literally leave one and go to the other. So I was working all day.
Real.
I know, right? But yeah, I mean, it was cool. I learned a lot. I think my favorite thing was just like kind of seeing what new products were coming out. And so I've told you this, but like something about me, which has always been hard with finding jobs in makeup, because I would go to counters, because back in the day everyone would be like, work in a makeup counter, like that's how you'll find people, blah blah blah. I never got hired at a makeup counter because they are all sales based, and you would have to sell and push products. And so my thing is like, I can't recommend something to you that I don't think is worth it,
right?
Or not even that, it's also that I don't believe in, but like if I don't think it's worth your money, I'm not pushing it.
Yeah.
If someone's like, I have like $30, like what can I get? I'm literally going to find the products for you that are multi-purpose that you could use on your eyes, on your cheeks, on your lips, and save you money.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be like, well, if you have like $50 more, no, like if you are giving me your budget, I'm going to help you figure it out. So I think that's kind of what was also hard working there too, is I was like, well, you don't need all 5 of these when you can just take these 2. And they would be like, Alyssa.
And that's the other thing that makes
it's the holidays.
You're like, this is commission. Do you want to get paid or
no,
not?
it's not commission.
It's just sale base? It's just the fact that you have to like sell.
No, Sephora's retail, so it's just hourly.
So that one was different. But like
a counter is commission.
Yes, that's the one commission that you had to like do. But I wonder, see, that's the thing that's so cool about your makeup is that you also use, like you said, if you're going to help people budget, right? You're like, save $1, here's something that can use on your eyes, lips, and cheeks. You also use really cool, unconventional materials. Like,
yeah, oh my God, I love that.
See, you do that. Like, know what, I know this sounds extreme, but paint. But you're very good about what kind of like face painting
I love face painting.
Yes, and
it stresses me out, but I love it.
You can put paint, which what paints can go on skins.
Yeah.
When you did My Amazing Makeup, shout out to our promo photos. We used metallic, like tape.
Yeah, I know, it was good. After we did that, my like gears started turning, and I was like, oh my God, I want to do more of this. And then I'm not going to say anything because like, can't have people like stealing my ideas.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was.
But it like made you want to go back in to more, because that's the thing, because you're thinking about with a budget in mind. Mm-hmm. You're not trying to go immediately for the hella expensive things. You're like, no, you can start off here. Because you were telling me the best mascara is like the CoverGirl one.
So the OG mascara, what is it, pink and green top that you've used, that's the OG one.
I love that one.
But the best ones are from the drugstore.
See, and the drugstore makeup,
they're like $8.
But it's just as good as anything you can find in Sephora.
Absolutely.
It's just that people are such weirdos.
It's a brand
about
thing.
It.
Like I used to kind of be like a brand hoe with makeup. I'm not gonna lie, but I would get like these bougie mascaras, and then it's like, I don't have $30. Bye.
No, I don't have time
Give
for
me
that.
Like $8.99.
Why not? Well, because I also was wondering, because you were saying that like being hired on these things, was it difficult to get hired in these particular arenas of makeup or anything, or was it just difficult to get hired in general?
I will say so I will say I do feel very blessed that I found the opportunities that I did, because it honestly was the people that I like worked with recommended me for other things.
Yep.
I do think, yes, it was definitely more difficult back in the day to get hired, especially with no experience.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but that's when you go in being an assistant. And I'm totally fine with that. Like, I still want to assist on stuff. Like, I love assisting. I think it's, yeah. And it's, you can always learn from people. There's always something to learn from different artists. And I love assisting because it's like, I'm not in charge, but I still have responsibility.
Yep.
And then, when I went to makeup school, when I was living out here in LA, I don't remember the year, it was a while ago, but I went to a makeup school that was out here. And my instructor actually gave me opportunities to work at fashion shows. So when I was in my 20s, I literally did big fashion shows out here in LA. And it was because of her that I had that opportunity, and it changed my life, because that was one of my biggest goals, was to do runway makeup. And it's exactly what I did. So it was because of her that led to that being on my resume. And then honestly, another job that I found, I saw a random listing on Facebook. I wasn't even friends with this person. I just like searched something, and I saw this person being like, hey, I need a makeup assistant for this. And I just like messaged, just being like, it's never going to happen, but whatever. And then that's how I got a job, which led to other jobs. So like, it's kind of a toss up, you know, but you kind of just have to put yourself out there, which is the scariest thing, but you really just have to do it, you know?
That is such great advice, though.
Put yourself out there, everybody.
Okay, so one of the things that we're doing with the art teacher is that I want this to be like an ongoing conversation, right? So I always ask my guests what's one question they want to ask any artist, and can be as weird and can be wild and anything. So our last guest that I had a question, right?
Okay.
She didn't know you were going to be my next guest. She just asked it. So you're going to answer. We're going to talk about the question.
Okay.
Rachel asked, why do you think Frida Kahlo stayed with Diego? It's heavy, right?
I mean, okay, but I'm sorry, but I don't even know that much about her.
But you love her. You love like what she represents, right?
Yeah, but like, that's a really...
But like, okay, so let's put it as in like, why? No.
My brain can't switch to history that fast. Like, this
it's
is
a very heady question.
This is like the longest I've talked. Well, we talk all the time, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, my brain has not worked in a year.
Yes, and now I'm asking you to like define why a relationship was dysfunctional and everything. Okay, but here's the thing that I like. When I heard her ask that question, the way that my brain works is I heard, why do you think artists stay in dysfunctional and unhealthy relationships? You know, because Frida and Diego.
Your brain is so interesting.
Thank you so much. If you want to see what it looks like, come to my apartment.
I'm there every day.
Yeah, you know exactly what it looks like. But like, you know, she asked that question, and I was like, oh yeah, and Rachel's a massive fan of Frida. Loves her. It's like one of her idols and everything. Yes. And I know, you know, we've talked about Frida because, you know, you've talked about like your Mexican heritage and how it's like important that we have all these like women artists in that arena, and how it's like very celebrated. Not a lot of cultures celebrate their women artists. Frida is one that is.
Yeah.
But when she asked that question about Diego and Frida, it kind of to me was like, why do we as artists romanticize unhealthy relationships sometimes?
Yeah, why? I mean, as someone who's been in dysfunctional relationships
with too many Pisces,
with too many
no Aries.
Zodiac, don't say that.
Oh, sorry, my bad. Never too many.
I mean, they're probably never gonna watch this, so that's fine. But with too many
men's
other fire signs.
Yes, there you go.
That's. I mean, I think for artists, it's just maybe because it's just a constant like. You're constantly tugging back and forth with yourself, like with your art. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm sure you experience that with like writing. Yeah. It's like a constant like tug of war.
It's like, for you, it's like
you get like a high and then you get like you have your highs, you have your lows. And so like maybe that's it, because it's like, you don't want, like, you know, you don't want to give up. Like, I'm the type of person where like, I'm going to try to make that shit work until it runs me off the road. Bless you. Salud.
Stephanie agrees. Sneeze means she agrees.
Thank you. But like, you know, it's like I'm that kind of person who will literally try and make something work, and I put too much effort when I shouldn't. Like, it should just die and just like leave it at that. But it's like even with artwork, or being an artist, it's the same thing. Like, I feel like I do get these highs and I'm like, I want to do everything. I want to do it now. Yeah. And it's like, even when I should step back and say no and like let jobs go or be like, this isn't what I wanted to do, whatever. Like, I just stay in it. Like, is that like, what song of it? Like the thrill of it? Like, you know, there's just something
there.
Like a roller coaster.
I always think of the music video for Love in a Hopeless Place, which was the Rihanna song. But the real music video everyone should watch is CeeLo Green covered the Band of Horses the song Funeral. And it's one of the greatest music videos ever. And it's about a couple that basically like are homeless, and then they go on this like crazy road, and they have like, you know, great sex, and then they were fighting, and then they have better sex after the fight, and then basically it's like their relationship falling apart. But they're, like you're saying, it's, as an artist, you have that tug and pull with your art, so why wouldn't it reflect in your relationships?
Right. Oh my God. Oh, I can't be an artist anymore.
Right? You're like, I fucking quit. I throw it in the air.
Yeah, no, that's very true.
Because we've talked about this.
Yeah.
When September comes, what are you going to do? Like when the pandemic...
I'm going to cry. I have to be out in public again.
But like, do you think that you want to go back into makeup immediately? But if it's something you love and there's an artistry behind it, do you feel like you want to go back to a rent-paying job just for your own sanity? Like, how are you vibing?
I think the thing that I don't want to do is go back into a rent-paying job.
Okay, great. That's amazing.
Because, as we know from past experience,
from our
I felt stuck, even though I know, like, you know, it's like you're never stuck, but it gets in your head that you are stuck. And I was giving more. And here's the thing about me as well is like, I'm just exposing myself, but
that's the point of this podcast. Just want to be therapy for like, you and me.
I literally give more energy to things that don't mean a lot to me because it's easy. If I put everything I had into what I love and it doesn't happen, I would be devastated.
I feel you.
Like literally, like I could do the makeup stuff and everything, but it's so much easier for me to just like jump into something else because I'm like, oh, I'm good at this. I can do this, you know? And then I feel completely overwhelmed and I feel like, you know, just stuck and dissolved of who I am because I've given so much.
Yeah.
So I think in September, it's like, I want to make sure that I'm doing something that I love to do that like makes me happy. Would love it if I was just working for myself by then, which I know might not be realistic because of the situation, but then that's when it comes in where it's like, what's your deadline?
Yep.
6 months, do this by 6 months. But I want to make sure that I am really going full force with what I love, because if anything that this year has taught us is it's just a reminder that life is short and like literally nothing is promised.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all going to die one day. And so it's like, what have you done to leave your legacy? You know, it's like, what are you doing today that's going to like benefit you tomorrow or in your future? So I don't want to, and that's like my thing is like, I don't want anything bad to happen for me to light a fire under my ass to get things done. Yeah. I don't want to die. I don't want something bad to happen for me to be like, oh my God, I saw the light and now I'm going to do like, no, the light is here.
It's always around us. Yeah.
We're in California. It's always sunny. It hurts my eyes. Like
I get headaches.
It's here. It's like, you know, just do it. And I think, and I'm sure there's so many other people that need to hear that. It's like, we wait for people to give us a permission or a sign to give us permission to do things. And it's like, no, we can give ourselves permission to do things. Like, just fucking do it. Just do it. I'm giving you permission. I'm giving me permission.
This is your sign. You're giving the person permission.
I'm helping you guys.
That's literally why I wanted you on here. Now I want to do the part though where I crack your brain open, and I want you to think of like any weird. Let's just. Don't blow. You taught us not to blow on brushes. I won't blow on your brain. Okay, that sounded weird. What podcast are we on? Broke Girl Therapy or the art teacher? I know. Okay, so if you could ask any artist, right? So you heard Rachel's question, how it's like super, you know, very heady but very beautiful and grounded. What is like one question that you would ask any artist if you could about the process, about the rent-paying jobs, about anything, pretty much?
That's a really good question.
That's why I'm the interviewer.
I know. But you know, like, what was like the major turning point in your life that made you want to become an artist? Did something happen? or was it kind of like a small flame inside of you that you ignored most of your life? And then once you activated that and you realized that it was
passion.
that it was passion and not, because it's like there's always that little voice inside of your head. So I always wonder if sometimes people were ignoring it at first. And then once they paid attention to it, it brought everything together. Because a lot of artists really find their way and become successful in their late 30s and 40s and 50s, and it's like, what was that turning point? What called you to do that?
Which brings to like what you were just talking about, the whole like, this is your sign. Like, I love that sentiment that you just are kind of like laying on my audience. That's so
This
dope.
is your sign, you guys.
This is your sign.
Yeah, I think that would be it. Because I know for me, again, it's something that I've just always been there. And there was really nothing else that called me. I mean, I dropped out of schools to do makeup, and then it didn't work out. So I went back to school. So I think for me, it was always there. It just needed to the switch just needed to be flipped. But it's like for other people, it's like, what was that?
No, I love that.
Because it's like, what's your favorite product? Like, mascara, lip gloss, like whatever. But it's like, that's not important. At the end of the day, it's like what is rooted in you that made you want to be who you are today.
Exactly. I love that. Where can people follow you on your art journey?
Oh my gosh. Alyssa Aiken on Instagram. That's ALYSSA AIKEN. That's how I order drinks and stuff. I spell out my name every time.
I love that.
But Instagram, I'm on TikTok now, doing weird things.
Doing great things.
Oh my God,
thank you. Great makeup.
My website is currently under construction because,
it's a work in
cobwebs,
progress.
you got to dust it off.
Yeah,
so
it's a work in progress.
Eventually that'll be up, but I'm mainly on Instagram and TikTok right now.
And people can hire you, right?
Absolutely. If anybody wants an assistant, I'm your gal. I'm here,
Amazing resume, amazing brain, and a beautiful soul. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And I must say, I'm very proud of you. And I'm so glad that you're doing this. See how I did? I just turned it around.
Yeah, I was about to be like, we can't take compliments. We have to do that. Like, no, you're pretty.
No, you're pretty.
No, you're pretty.
But I'm very proud of you. And thank you for having me.
Oh my God. Thank you for coming. It's big that you did this. So yeah.
I know it's a big deal.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much. You've been listening to The Art Teacher. As always, you can find me at Rose_Eddastone, or now that we have the podcast has its own Instagram. It's at it's Art Teacher, The Art Teacher Pod. I will someday no longer be as dyslexic as I am today. But until then, just the links below of the YouTube video. And, as always, thank you so much.